it was refreshing. And then everybody started talking about it, and we went back and looked at a couple more films, and then
You thought Clint Eastwood was the definition of calm, wise, and untouchable, but turns out that cool cowboy image might have just been a mask. At 95, word around Hollywood is that the legend finally dropped that flawless front, revealing a sharper, colder edge nobody saw coming. And here's where things start heating up. Rumor has it, Clint's been calling out 6 big names he believes straight up switched sides on him when the spotlight dimmed. They rode with him during the glory days, flashed those fake smiles for the cameras, then, according to insiders, vanished when things got tense. And the first name tangled in this storm? None other than Leonardo DiCaprio, the so-called golden boy of Hollywood. Sources say Clint never forgot what went down. So what could push Mr. Cool himself to storm off his own set? The whispers all point back to Leo. When J. Edgar started filming in 2010, everyone thought it was a dream combo, Hollywood's calmest director teaming up with its most intense actor. But insiders claim the vibe went icy real quick, like a slow-motion standoff between 2 powerhouse egos. From day one, DiCaprio allegedly showed up armed with folders of notes, pages of research, even highlighted FBI memos. Crew members say Clint's patience started wearing thin fast. One story goes that Leo came in acting like he was investigating Clint himself, and Clint supposedly cracked a dry joke. I wasn't the case. But behind that half smile, people swear his irritation was bubbling. Then came the big test, the emotional breakdown scene. Leo hit it perfectly on the first try. Raw, real, and gut punch honest. The whole room froze like everyone forgot how to breathe. Clint just muttered, "Perfect, cut." That should have been the wrap. But Leo, he wanted another take, then another, and another. By the 6th one, the mood had flipped completely. Clint wasn't even behind the camera anymore. People say he was leaning on the craft table, coffee in hand, face like carved granite. Someone asked if he was all right, and he muttered, he's still searching for something. That's when everyone realized this wasn't just about a scene anymore. I already found it. That one quiet line from Clint hit the crew like an icy slap. Everyone just froze. When the cameras stopped rolling, there was no applause, no rap party, just pure silence. Clint's kind of silence. After that, casting talks took a different tone. Whenever DiCaprio's name came up, insiders say Clint would just shake his head and mumble, "Great actor, but not my kind." That chill never left the room, and since that day, they've never shared a set, never hit a red carpet together, not even a simple photo op. Sure, Leo got his Oscar later, but those Eastwood calls? Gone. Because to Clint, perfection isn't about endless retakes, it's about hitting it once and walking away without wasting another breath. Now here comes the next bomb, number 2 on that list, Michael Moore, the one who reportedly pushed Clint past his limit in a single moment. Moore once compared American Sniper to Nazi propaganda, and people say that was the line that Clint would never forgive. It wasn't a shouting match, not even a heated exchange. Clint just closed that chapter like slamming a heavy door. No drama, no rant, just done. But truth is, that tension didn't start there. It had been simmering since 2005 when Clint took the stage at the National Board of Review Awards and dropped a line that made headlines everywhere. He said, "If Michael Moore ever shows up at my door with a camera, I'll kill him." That wasn't a joke to Moore or to anyone who heard it that night. It was pure Eastwood ice, straight from the legend himself. The room laughed. But it wasn't the fun kind. It was that nervous, awkward kind of laughter that fills the air when nobody's sure what just happened. Clint didn't crack a smile, not even close. He stared straight ahead, cold and focused, then walked off stage like he meant every single word. That moment wasn't just talk. It was a line drawn deep in the sand, and he never looked back. To really get why this grudge still burns, you've got to know what makes Clint tick. Discipline, quiet strength, and that old-school code of honor meant everything to him. So when Michael Moore came swinging with those loud, in-your-face documentaries, especially Fahrenheit 9/11, it rubbed Clint the wrong way fast. He saw it as noisy politics pretending to be art, and that didn't sit right with him at all. Clint's inner circle says his mindset was rock solid and old-fashioned. He once told a friend in a rare heated moment, "He sees soldiers as pawns. I see them as heroes." That line says it all. For Clint, it was never about fame or headlines, it was about respect. Plain and simple. So when Moore later jumped online and joked that American Sniper reminded him of the Nazi sniper in Inglourious Basterds, Clint's camp says the reaction was instant, furious. Moore claimed it was just a joke, but Clint's people didn't buy that for a second. One longtime collaborator summed it up perfectly. He doesn't forget insults. Then came the colder line that sealed it. He deletes them. And that's exactly what happened. No loud arguments, no messy public feud, just silence. A full erase. Since that post, Moore's name has been wiped clean out of Clint's world. Sure, Clint's worked with all kinds of people, liberal, conservative, you name it. But insiders swear there's one rule he'll never bend. Disrespect the troops, and you're out for good. To Clint, Moore didn't just cross the line, he mocked it, and he did it for everyone to see. Whenever someone dares to bring up Michael Moore around Clint, insiders swear the whole vibe freezes instantly, like the air just gets sucked out of the room. No jokes, no side comments, nothing. Conversation over, just like that. Now on to number 3, Barbra Streisand, the ultimate perfectionist who managed to rattle Hollywood's toughest cowboy. If there's one name that can still make Clint Eastwood's jaw clench tight even after all these decades, it's hers. Word around the industry is that Barbra got under his skin so deep he still avoids saying her name in interviews. What started as professional tension turned into one of the iciest silent feuds in all of Hollywood. Their clash began back in the early 1980s, when both were shifting gears from acting to directing. Streisand was famous for being a total control freak on set. 40, 50, sometimes 60 takes just to capture the perfect shot. Clint? Completely different story. 2 takes max, then move on. He was known to say, "If it's not real the first time, it's not worth filming." That was his law, his rhythm, his truth. People say the two of them symbolized everything clashing about New Hollywood. Her style was pure control, his was pure instinct. Barbra chased flawlessness, Clint chased authenticity. And by the early 90s, that creative difference had turned into straight-up disdain, like oil and water that just refused to mix. Then came 1992. The Prince of Tides didn't land Barbra a Best Director nomination, and that's when the real shade allegedly dropped. Clint was reportedly overheard telling a friend, maybe if she made decisions faster, she'd finish more than 3 films in 15 years. That jab wasn't just casual talk. It was a shot from the hip, pure Clint style, and everyone who heard it knew. Those two were never teaming up for anything, ever. That comment didn't stay behind closed doors for long. Word spread through Hollywood like wildfire, and things between Clint and Barbra only got messier from there. Then came the Bridges of Madison County, the project that completely shattered whatever thin piece they had left. Originally, Barbra Streisand had been attached to direct the film, but after years of delays and back-and-forth indecision, she walked away. Insiders say Clint swooped in, took control, rewrote the script his way, and turned it into a quiet, emotional gut punch that felt personal. The result? Meryl Streep snagged an Oscar nomination, and to a lot of people in the industry, that was Clint's silent revenge, a masterclass in payback without a single word raised. Since that film, the two have reportedly gone out of their way to stay miles apart. To Clint, Barbra became the face of everything he couldn't stand about modern filmmaking. Too much hesitation, too much control, and too many instincts smothered by endless second-guessing. In his eyes, directing was like pulling a trigger. You do it once, clean and precise, not 50 times trying to chase perfect. And now, on to number 4. Tommy Lee Jones, the one man Clint couldn't tame. From the very first day on the set of In the Line of Fire back in 1993, Clint supposedly leaned over to a crew member and muttered, "2 bulls in 1 pen. This won't last." And if the stories are true, he was right. On paper, it looked like a dream pairing, 2 intense, no-nonsense pros. But behind the camera, it wasn't collaboration, it was a showdown. Jones wasn't the kind of guy to take quiet direction. not even from Clint Eastwood. Insiders claim he fired back on timing, argued about lines, and even kept performing after Clint yelled, "Cut!" It wasn't just acting. It was a clash of pure alpha energy that nearly blew the whole set apart. Clint, known for running his sets calm, tight, and whisper quiet, just stood there like, "Is this really happening?" One technician remembered that Tommy Lee Jones would stay deep in character between takes, muttering lines, pacing, totally locked in, and Clint would just stare, stone-faced, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Things reportedly hit the breaking point during a major confrontation scene. Jones stood towering over Clint, spitting every line with real venom. Clint finally called out, "Cut!" But Jones didn't stop. He kept going, eyes locked straight on Eastwood, like he wasn't just acting anymore. He was challenging him. The entire crew froze. Nobody dared move. Nobody even breathed. After a long, tense silence, Clint supposedly leaned toward his assistant and whispered, "Life's too short for that kind of theater." Then he turned and calmly walked off set. No shouting, no lecture, just that classic Eastwood exit that said everything without saying much at all. Insiders claim that was the moment the decision got made. When Jones's name came up in future casting talks, Clint reportedly didn't flinch. "He's a great actor," he'd say, "but we don't speak the same language." Translation? Not happening again. Since then, the two have never shared a screen, never done a panel, never even been spotted talking at industry events. In Clint's world, there's only room for one alpha calling cut, and in his mind, that's him. Now on to number 5, Richard Burton, the legend who supposedly pushed Clint's patience right to the edge. Eastwood's not known for losing his cool, but stories from the 1968 set of Where Eagles Dare tell a whole different story. And this time, it wasn't about fame or attitude, it was about professionalism, showing up sharp, and respecting everyone's time. Richard Burton reportedly showed up late more than once, stumbling through lines and looking like he was still shaking off the night before. Meanwhile, Clint was already on set at dawn, showered, dressed, and ready to roll, just standing there, silently watching the minutes slip away. One crew member swore you could see the respect draining from Clint's face bit by bit, like water leaking out of a cracked glass. Burton was deep in the chaos of his stormy marriage to Elizabeth Taylor, and people on set claimed that most nights ended in a haze at the bar. Then sunrise hit, and the whole crew paid for it, again. But Clint didn't yell, didn't pull rank, didn't throw shade, he just went cold and quiet. His version of fury. Insiders said you could feel the air chill every time Burton messed up a take. After Burton reportedly fumbled the same line for the 10th time, Clint allegedly muttered, "I'm getting paid by the picture, not by the hour." The crew laughed, those nervous little chuckles that say this is getting real, but Burton didn't find it funny one bit. That line cut deep. It was Clint's version of a punch. Then came the moment that sealed their fallout. Burton was reportedly overheard calling Where Eagles Dare a paycheck job, and Clint was right there to hear it. To him, that wasn't just Hollywood talk, that was a slap across the face, disrespecting the film, the crew, the whole process. In Clint's book, that was unforgivable. Years later, when someone asked Clint about Burton, his response was short and ice cold. Talented guy, wasted talent. That was it. No extra words, no emotion. The film went on to become a massive hit, but their working relationship? It ended right there on that mountain set, frozen solid and never revived. Clint never worked with Richard Burton again, and after that, he barely spoke his name. For a man who believes silence cuts deeper than shouting, that silence was the verdict. In Clint's world, once you disrespect the craft, that mark doesn't fade, it sticks forever. Now, number 6, Jean Seberg. The woman insiders say tested Clint's patience past the breaking point. Eastwood almost never brings up Paint Your Wagon these days, and when someone dares to ask why, those who were there always point to Seberg. She wasn't just his co-star in the 1969 musical. She was the reason, people claim, Clint swore he'd never let sympathy mix with business again. Jean Seberg was described as delicate, unpredictable, and caught in the middle of chaos she didn't create. She was under brutal outside pressure too, targeted and watched by the FBI because of her political ties and activism. That kind of stress shadowed her everywhere she went. On set, her emotions reportedly swung like a pendulum. Some mornings, she'd show up glowing, cracking jokes, charming everyone with her warmth. Other days, she'd vanish into her trailer for hours, leaving the crew waiting in silence. Clint, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. Methodical, strict with time, and allergic to drama. He ran sets like clockwork. Every second counted. Every delay felt like a personal offense. Insiders say it was oil and fire from day one. Jean's instability clashing with Clint's control. What started as patience turned into quiet frustration, and by the end of the shoot, Clint had made up his mind. Feelings had no place on his set. Only focus did. By week 3 on Paint Your Wagon, people on set swore Clint had reached his breaking point. Jean Seberg would stop mid-scene to question her motivation, diving into long talks while everyone just stood waiting. A script supervisor remembered Clint staring down at the floor, silent, just waiting her out. You could feel his patience running out, like he was thinking, "Please, let's just get the job done." But the real explosion didn't come until after filming wrapped, when the movie flopped. That's when Seberg reportedly told reporters that Clint's wooden performance dragged the film down. That quote burned through Hollywood's gossip circuits fast. To Clint, that wasn't just harsh feedback. It was straight-up betrayal, especially after a messy production where everyone had been holding the whole thing together by a thread. From that day on, Seberg was finished in Clint's eyes. He stopped mentioning her entirely, and if someone dared to bring her name up, insiders say he'd just change the subject, light a cigar, and walk away like she'd never existed. That's the Eastwood move. No yelling, no drama, just total erasure. Then came the heartbreaking news years later. Jean Seberg's tragic death in 1979. Friends who were close to Clint say he looked genuinely shaken when he heard, but his stance never softened. He reportedly said quietly, "Some people aren't cut out for the work, and I don't need to deal with it twice." Cold words, but in his mind, that was reality. That might have been the closest he ever came to forgiveness. No speeches, no statements, just that quiet mix of sadness and steel. To Clint, the past stayed in the past, even when it hurt. So what's your take? Was Clint Eastwood justified in cutting people off so completely, or did that unshakable silence cross the line? Let's hear what you think in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more raw, behind-the-scenes Hollywood stories they never wanted out.